guys, this is Ish and
Lax from the Sub Podcast.
So we're just going to go through like the results from the weekend, and yeah, we've had some exciting results. One we'll come to in a bit more detail. So Lax, West Ham, and Chelsea. Wow, no one saw that. I didn't see that. I think I'd predicted a tough start for Chelsea at the London Stadium, but it just seems like Chelsea they had 5 shots on target and 5 goals. So yeah, make of that what you may, but what do you think when you saw it?
Yeah, no, I was absolutely blown away, to be fair. I think we can all see that Graham Potter's already in trouble. I think you've obviously gone with your guess of him being the first to be sacked. And I think to that point, I was just absolutely shocked of how poorly they played, considering Palmer wasn't even playing as well. Great shout that I got as well with Pedro getting on the goal sheet. I think a lot of the big strikers will start getting their more minutes in now, more goals. I think it's just obviously some of these first game blues, but God, don't want to give them the blues, sort of pardon the pun, too much, right? But that was just horrific from West Ham. So we'll have to see what happens next with West Ham, but it's not looking good.
Definitely not looking good. So I think, Potter might be on his broomstick out of the London Stadium very soon. And now let's go to another shock, which was, again, a game that I didn't quite call the result. I thought it would be a draw, but that's at the Etihad, and that was Spurs going over there and actually doing a number on them. So I think for me, it was how Thomas Frank sort of set up that game. I think he went in with a high press, and he just did not let the City players sort of stay comfortable on the ball. Right from the back, they were just pushing right up to him. Sarr had a fantastic game. All the Spurs midfielders had a fantastic game, but just Sarr and especially was really kind of hunting him down. And then when you got pace of Kudos, I think that just allows them to sort of break very quickly. But yeah, that was an absolute shock for me. I thought it would have been a Spursy thing to do to sort of lose that game 3-2, but yeah, it was an amazing game to sort of watch.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth there. I was going to say Spursy. And I think I went for a 3-2 victory to Man City as well. So fair play to Thomas Frank. I think he's obviously a really good manager. How long will the happiness last? We all saw this with Ange a couple of years ago. He came and I think he won like his first 6 or something like that. Fair play to get a clean sheet against Manchester City. I don't think a lot of people saw that. As somebody who's an FBL player, I was very lucky to get 6 points from Mickey van der Ven then. So no, it's good to see. I think we're all quite happy for Frank. I think we can all see there's other managers we've just spoken about who aren't having a good time with their new club. So it'll be interesting to see. I think Spurs have obviously definitely got this balance correct, considering they were a team that just literally were leaking goals every so often in the last campaign. We'll have to see how long this lasts for. Like I said, there is that Spurs element that can still come through. But God, I think another thing with City at the moment is that as a team, they haven't gelled, I don't think, just yet. I think the Pep roulette is back again. Someone Cherky, who obviously didn't start it. He started this game, didn't look great. Bring on Rodri and Foden, didn't look like they did much either. For me, I've watched City for a number of years now. They've taken us some incredible title races, and I think they've got only the one out-and-out winger, which is Jeremy Doku, and then bringing him on with 20 minutes left in the game, didn't really get much out of his pace. Will Pep go back into the market, probably spend another 500 million, right?
Okay. And now let's go to, again, I think our prediction was for Wolves to go down, and obviously away at Bournemouth, I think we could definitely tell that it looks like we're both right in our predictions that Wolves might be one of the teams that will be going down. It just felt like they're lacking pace and maybe an idea. I think they've lost players, so they've lost that sort of cutting edge up front with Cunha. So I think for me that was a very kind of predictable scoreline, which was 1-0 to Bournemouth.
Yeah, and to that point, I think, losing Cunha, we've mentioned this on our last couple of episodes, that was a massive threat. Even Nori as well, obviously going from the left-hand side as well. And obviously, I mentioned on the last episode that Larson was getting tipped to go to Newcastle, and we've obviously seen the bids being rejected. So there's probably not a great atmosphere in the club right now. I think you want to be buying some players that actually will come in and make a difference. I don't think I've seen a lot out of these players. I don't think they've scored yet, have they? If there was 3-0 against Man City and now 1-0 against Bournemouth, where are the goals going to come from? If you're going to lose your striker for 50 million as well, it's not looking good for Wolves.
And obviously Brentford beating Aston Villa 1-0. What do you think?
Yeah, of course. I must admit I tipped them to be going down, but I think fair play to Brentford. They needed that. They need to get some points on the boards. I think Kelleher again has shown how great he was for us, and now he will be for Brentford. A lot of people have been talking about his performances, how good he is. We've seen him for a number of years. When he needed to step in for Alisson, it was absolutely amazing, to be fair. So yeah, I'm happy to see Brentford do well. And again, another club that's not scored yet. Villa now, that's 2 games in, haven't scored. They've still kept a majority of their players, which is quite interesting as well, to think that nothing's happened there. There's these rumours circling about Jackson. I don't think that's going to solve the issue either. I think what you might see, and I think you might have spoken about this last time, Europa League's probably what they're going to be focusing on. If they can get back into the Champions League for PFA and so on and so forth. And I think Unai Emery's won it like 3 times, didn't he, with Sevilla and Villarreal and other Spanish clubs in that regard. So we know he's a good manager. Maybe it's just not started to click and gel. They've got a good run of fixtures coming up, so I think they will start to eventually get back into their ways.
And now Burnley, wow. I definitely didn't call this, but then I knew in a way it's a championship game because both coming up last season. So Burnley having a very great defensive record, which obviously that didn't happen last week. But to then see them sort of turn over Sunderland in the manner they did was, quite frankly, a really impressive start for them at home. And Scott Parker, I think, he's got probably something about him at home, and I think that will probably is something we'll see going forward in the season. I think they'll be very, very hard to beat and to break down at home. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, fascinating game. I didn't think the Sunderland, what would you call it, the momentum was going to last too long. I think Sunderland are probably going to be a great team at home. You mentioned it, I think, again, about being a championship match. I think, obviously, there was a bit of scrappiness to the game. But I think another thing you've got to remember, considering how much of a horrible game Trafford had against Spurs, and to think that was a big part of why they came up in the championship last year, to then keep a clean sheet in the Premier League is massive. I think a lot of clubs know how important it is a clean sheet to get. Two goals up as well. Fair play to Burnley. I'd hope they can continue this momentum. But again, a team that's won at home. I think a lot of these promoted sides will do well at home. This is the first time all 3 championship clubs have come up and have won already. I think last year it took till November, which is absolutely ridiculous in this day and age. But hopefully that shows a bit of a shift in change. Maybe our relegation predictions might be a bit true. Maybe some of these Premier League clubs now have sort of haven't really thought about their recruitment, but a lot of these championship clubs have. Burnley have recruited a lot of players that got them through the door. Sunderland's recruitment's been really good. I think Leeds again today just signed James Justin as well. So they're really going for it, and I think them at home will be really good. Will be good for them. But at the end of the day, you can't just win at home to stay in the league. I think the magic number's 40, right? Will Burnley do it?
And obviously, guys, the big game, Arsenal against Leeds at the Emirates. Wow. I didn't see that coming. It just felt like for Leeds, I think it was like a rude awakening. You come back into the Premier League, want to play free-flowing football, and I think it just showed that they were just a little bit off sort of what it takes to be a top Premier League side. And yeah, I think Arsenal with all their pace and sort of all their attacking wealth of talent were able to sort of to run away with the game. The only downside for them was the 2 injuries, the possible hamstring for Saka, which looks like he could be ruled out for next weekend's big game at Anfield, which is probably a blessing in disguise for us. But again, is this Arteta's tactics where they say a player's injured and then he sort of turns up on the coach, fully fit and ready to go? And then the same with Odegaard. I think he went off, and not sure if that was a severe sort of shoulder injury or maybe it's just a strain. So I think, yeah, they probably won't have many doubts for him. And obviously they're looking again in the transfer window. They want to bring in a centre-back. So Arsenal's business is not done. And with a 5-0 win, they definitely, for me, seem like they're the ones that are going to challenge Liverpool or be right up there. And definitely not with that 10 to 15-point gap that we saw last season.
So yes, Arsenal, I had them down for 3-0 and they won 5-0 in the end, so fair play. I obviously mentioned Gyökeres will get back onto the score sheet today. I think that will be a big thing for him getting a penalty as well. The squad's obviously bringing some players as well. They obviously presented Eze as well, and it looks like they're going for the centre-back and left-back at Bayer Leverkusen as well. So they're here to still do some further recruitment. I think the injuries is a big thing. I mentioned, I think Fergie was famously one who used to lie about injuries, and now he's doing it, right? They will, I think, yeah, they are definitely going to be up there fighting for the title. Gokres was famous, he said, to have only scored against the lower teams in Portugal as well. So I had a feeling he was going to do all right against Leeds. But to that point, I think, Arsenal did particularly well at home. They've always been quite a strong side at home. How will they build on this? How will they play against us, against Anfield as well? If Saka is out, they're saying in a good couple of games he will be out. But then it's just a debut for Eze at Anfield. But we all know that's going to be a hell of a game, so we're looking forward to that one.
Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest, it probably went the way we thought it would go, like a 1-1. Just one of those great kind of mid-table clashes. Neither team giving too much away. It was just one of those sort of games, nothing too much to kind of write home about. To be honest, I didn't really watch much of the game. So I think you might have a little bit more information on that than me.
No, it's totally fine. I think, Palace. I think my main concern for Palace is they're still only won, 2 points now, 2 draws. The fact that they have now just lost Eze as well. Mark Gahey rumours are still swirling around. They've got Europa Conference League, to be concerned with themselves with. So will these more games affect them? We might not see the same Crystal Palace we saw last year. But Glasner is a good manager. He obviously won the Europa League, I believe, with Frankfurt. So he's obviously got pedigree in European championships. But it's a whole new ball game when you've got more games in a season to compete with. You need a bigger squad, gelling in these players as well, and thinking about how late it is in the transfer market as well to embed these players in and get them training. It's a bit of a hard ask.
And now we go over to Everton, who obviously, they had such a great game. They rode their luck definitely for the best part of the game. I think Brighton are very unlucky to not come away from that game with at least a draw. A penalty being saved, plus hitting the woodwork, I think twice, and having open goals where I think the ball's just slightly behind Welbeck for it to go over the bar. But then saying that, I think Everton are in the new stadium are trying to build an atmosphere and a crowd, and I think the only way you can do that is with games like this and a big win. Time will tell. Other teams might have done a little bit better. But I think maybe at this time, first game at the Dickinson Stadium, it felt like maybe, the luck was on their side. There was nothing in that game that I was too impressed with, except for Grealish. Jack Grealish came back into it and felt like, he has that freedom again to play and gets given the ball in games like how he used to at Villa, where he is able to sort of create his own chances and just make things happen.
No, I agree. I think the hoodoo of not losing or even winning in the first home game of your new stadium needed to be done. And fair play to Everton. Absolutely beautiful stadium. I saw the post-match interview with Jack Grealish as well. He obviously said that Moyes had FaceTimed him. They got quite a good relationship there. So that's probably going to help him. I think it's a lot of pressure being a £100 million player. I think loads of people obviously, and please give us your thoughts in the comment section below about if you thought it was a flop, the 100 million for Jack Grealish. But for him to come back, get 2 assists, he looks like a new player. I think a lot of players are going to be thinking about now, can they get into the World Cup squads, right? Jack Grealish, we know there's a player in there. He's obviously just had a tough couple of weeks a couple of years, in the Premier League, and I think he's definitely got something to give about him. Brighton, though, I think there's a bit of a question mark for me. I think Brighton obviously had the 1-0 all the way up to, I think it was late in the 90th minute against Fulham in the first game of the week. So for them to now not even get a goal against Everton could be a bit of concern. I think Welbeck is obviously still there. You've got one of our players that we love so dearly being James Milner. But I'm just a bit concerned about where these goals are going to come from. Where does the play start to evolve within Brighton? Obviously, there's a few people that are saying that Baleba might be leaving as well. Is maybe the camp not as great as it used to be? But Brighton are a good side, like you said. They hit the woodwork a couple of times. Maybe they were a bit unlucky, but it's only game week 2. We'll have to see what happens next.
And obviously, this is the game that I predicted would be or would have the luggy start, which basically means the shock factor. United definitely started well in the first opening 10-15 minutes. I thought, wow, this team seems to have a lot about itself, a lot of one-touch football, a lot of interplay from the front three. I think Mason Mount had a fantastic game, the way he was sort of just connecting with Bruno and the forward line. And I definitely thought that they were going to probably run away with it at the beginning. But then as the game went on and, as Fulham settled and obviously got the crowd behind them, it then looked like pretty similar to sort of like a game you would expect from last season, and United just seemed to get bullied. And Fulham came right back into it. And if the game had been, I would say, another 10, 15 minutes longer, or they'd scored before, 15 minutes prior to that, I think we would be thinking of a completely different scoreline. I think Fulham could have gone ahead and got the result because Jimenez had come on and you could sort of see he was really getting himself into the game. Some near miss chances. But yeah, it just doesn't look good for United at the moment. I've seen a lot of other fans on social media been tearing their hair out. I think... oh no, I thought that was Bruno's ball going over. It's still out there. But I think... there's just a lot of pressure on the team, and I think as a captain for United as well, I think Bruno, I think he's been shaken and the team's been shook. So they had a great win on the opening weekend, and Amran said, if we play like that, we can beat any side in the Premier League. And then you go to Fulham, and then that's the sort of performance you have. And for me, it was that thing I had mentioned last week, or in the match week preview, was... they're really great at getting up for the big games, the top six. But when it comes to the other games that you expect for them to almost show the same sort of passion and drive, they always sort of seem to fall flat and allow other teams in.
No, and it's a fascinating one. Obviously, we're both stood here with our Liverpool tops on, right? But I'll try to be, if I can, slightly kinder here, because I think at the end of the day, we are football analysts. We want everyone to get involved. And like I said, obviously, please let us know if you've seen Fernandez's ball in the comment section. So to that point, I thought, I must admit, to hear Fernandez give the referee his excuse for the penalty is just absolutely poor, right? Your signings, all right, don't get me wrong, Cunha looks good, and Bremer obviously I think was the corner in to get the goal in. I've seen even the goal itself. We saw Lenny Yoro literally push Calvin Bassey in the back, so people are suggesting, was that even a goal, right? You can't go from losing 1-0 to Arsenal and then say, we can beat any team in the league, and then draw to Fulham. It's not good enough, United fans. I think you've got an opportunity here to do something with your season. Your manager's not, I think he's got 28 games and 29 points. It might even be the other way around. It's not the great of statistics, right? I know people might say statistics aren't always the sort of rule to go by in football, but it's not looking good, right? Cunha and Mbeumo, they've got these other players like Dallo and stuff like that. There's obviously a big missing problem there in that midfield. You've got Fernandez, who isn't a centre mid. He's more of the number 10, which you've now given to Cunha. At the back as well, it just doesn't look great. It looks all very disjointed. You need to have a manager who's willing to adapt, right? You're going to play 3 at the back. They need to be doing their jobs. And you're now pushing out players like Kobe Mainoo, some of these players that you bring from your academy. Somebody, I think, who got the FA Cup winner a couple of years ago, right? So you have some really great players there, and you've got incredibly amount of money that you spent, and with no players going out either as well. You've got this whole bomb squad of players that you're suggesting that need to be going out the door, and none of them are going to leave because they've all just sitting there on huge contracts, right? United is still in the same position that it is. I know I might be going on a bit of a rant here, but United fans, I'm sure you have something to say, but it's not looking good.
Definitely not looking good, and that's music to the ears of Liverpool fans and supporters alike.